Diablous. It's not.
Is it DBL?
No.
DBL? Oh wait, we're on mute.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going,
Good
guys?
afternoon.
It's good. We've just pretty much done the entire talk show before you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
That's it, chaps.
That's
Thank you very much.
Stream over. I genuinely, before this, I thought the whole stream was just going to be you vaping, Nick.
I am going to keep muting, just so you know.
Okay. So, a warm welcome to everyone in chat. Today I am joined by Phil from Enclave, the director of Enclave, Diablous' owner, DBL Nick, and the gambling master, Jakey Ray himself.
Hello.
Not after today. Not after he lost.
Not after today.
We're wiping today off, okay? Non-factor.
Oh, Nick's camera went off for a second. So, how's your weekend been, guys? Been alright?
Yeah, I've been playing actually League of Legends with Jakey, so that's been pretty fun.
Has he been into?
Yeah, when he gets
Bro.
Aurelia, it's like he's just like leave open Aurelia and I ban it, and then he's just like, oh, I could have won V9. It's just like, no, you cannot. You're gonna.
Bro. Come on. Like your Heimerding that came down from top lane and just fucking one shot me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
But yeah, I've had a good weekend. What about you, Nick?
My weekend's been a bit different. I don't actually really play League of Legends much anymore, as you might know if you watch my stream. But to be fair, my weekend's actually been a relaxing one for once. I've had a very busy couple of weeks, so it's been nice for a change to spend some time with the family. Do some little things, see other family as well. So yeah, it's just been nice. Other than serious question, just to start us off, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just had some food on the way home, and I thought, oh, nip in, get some food, it'd be nice. Or order a quick steak, it's all good, right? How many times would you send food back before you just walk out?
Once, twice. That's me.
I would say, yeah, twice. I've only ever sent food. This is really weird, but yeah, I've only ever sent food back once.
It's a good starting question.
And they like because they gave me bolognese and it was just like, this is all sauce, no meat. I sent it back and they just put more sauce on it, and I was just like, that's not what I asked for. So I think if you have to send it back twice, then it's probably worth leaving.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I won't actually say how many times I had to send it back then, but let's just say I didn't pay for the bill.
I don't think I've ever sent one back. Like, I'm not fussy. Just saying.
Oh, it's steak, man. You got to be fussy. Sorry. Anyway.
Right. So, hello everyone. Moving on to what we're mainly here to talk about: Forge of Champions Split 1. How did you guys think it went for being the first split? Whoever wants to jump in on that.
I'm gonna let Nick go, set the tone, see how much I can talk about. No, actually, I don't mind going first. I think Split 1 was successful in the eyes of LVP, mostly because when you look at like previous ESL seasons, then the viewership was not doing well. Like we weren't doing well in terms of viewership, and for us, it was kind of hard to argue to basically the sponsors, like, okay, we're part of this league, but it's not really getting that much exposure. So I would say for like just plain exposure, like LVP did such a great job, especially with the promotion of the event, like on Twitter, through Twitch, etc. So viewership, we did really well. Obviously, it was the first season of the tournament, and it was the first time LVP were in the UK, so there was going to be mistakes here and there, but I don't think there wasn't one defining event that happened that I was like, oh god, what's going on? Like it was just like, oh, there's hiccups here, there's hiccups there, but it's fine. But overall, viewership was actually really good. So yeah, I was happy with the first split.
Does anyone else have anything to add on the viewership of LVP?
I mean, Nick, I remember when we go to the riot meeting, and me and you, I think it was something that we always was a bit worried about with the viewership, especially on the Tuesday stream for ESL, because that was only getting around 300 views. So I know that you especially was one of the people like, well, the viewership isn't good enough, right?
I know ESL wasn't consistent week to week, but I only watched like the first 2 weeks of Forge of Champions. I don't know how it went for the rest of the split.
I mean, for viewership, I would say that when they Like, okay, so there's something that I would I would love to comment on, which is a lot of people always said that when they joined the LVP chat that it was like there was like the stream was being botted, when actually when the reason why the viewership just increased all of a sudden was that Twitch was actually then putting it on the front page of the client. So when they actually did that, that's when it boosted it all the way up, because obviously there are people logging on to Twitch and they saw it and they just clicked onto there, as that's the first thing that pops up. But when you have when that wasn't in place, it did decrease a bit. But that's where LVP did better with their promotion, right? They had that connection with Twitch to put that there, so that's why the numbers were overall better.
Yeah, I mean, it was put forward as a UK championship type thing, right? But then the finals was in Spain. It was sort of like, what's the point?
I believe it's because they didn't have the studio set up, right? So
yeah, they're gonna have the studio set up for next split, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether or not they've announced.
I think Nick's trying to talk, but he's muted.
He's an absolute monk.
No, we can't hear you, Nick. No,
I can answer that question. I can answer.
Yeah, you answer for Nick.
So the reason why it was in Barcelona is obviously because LVP.
Hello.
There we go.
Hey, that was really weird. Like, apparently I needed to change my mic back off. So yeah, what I was going to say was, in defense of LVP and Riot, they wanted to give the best they could, and they already had a decent setup over in Barcelona, and they did obviously say to us that the finals would be there, so we was already aware. And I think they just wanted to give it the best start it could, and obviously being set up correctly already over in Spain, it was like, well, why don't we just do it over there? And it's a nice new setting, it's a bit fresh. It gives obviously the teams just something to sort of strive for and things like that. Obviously, you know, just like anyone else, I'd have much preferred it over in the UK, as it's a UK brand, it's a UK product, and obviously all the teams would need to be from the UK. It would have obviously made sense to have it in the UK, right? But unfortunately, you know, that wasn't the case. And I think if they'd have tried to rush job something to get it ready for finals, it wouldn't have been at the same level of quality that they were able to deliver by putting it over in Spain. So you kind of have to find that balance sometimes, and especially when they're testing the water.
They wouldn't have anywhere to put it anyway. They wouldn't have anywhere to. So, for instance, ESL always had the ESL, like the ESL studio in Leicester. Or at EGX, which it wasn't happening at that time. Insomnia wasn't happening at that time. So the dates that they had to do, there was no other place to really put it, and they already had it set up in Spain. So why not just do it over there anyway? And I mean, it was a great trip for the people that were, or the teams, because they got to go over to Barcelona, experience something completely different, experience a level of quality that I think that LVP have obviously been producing over there in the Spanish league.
Do you reckon we'll keep the same level of production quality when they do move to the UK studio?
Yes.
I mean, I can hope so. One thing I will say from the work that we did with Riot, I mean, obviously all three of us had been to meetings and been a part of stuff there. One of the things that I definitely will say is that they're 100% keen to make sure that the UK shines as bright as it possibly can. So I highly doubt they would under-deliver on something. I think they'd rather do nothing than under-deliver. So I think we'd definitely have the same level of production, if not better.
Jakey, do you have anything to add on this?
Well, I'm sure I'm going back off Nick, to be honest. Yeah, like, they're definitely not going to under-deliver. Like, they already know what they're doing, like, regarding, like, studio, because they've got a fantastic one in Barcelona, from what I've heard. So, like, if anything, they can only improve off that, right?
Well, one thing I would add is that whether or not the finals of the next season will be played in Barcelona may be different, because obviously they're setting up a studio, so the broadcasts are going to be from the studio, like the UK studio, but whether or not they'll be able to build a whole studio where they have in Barcelona, where there's all the setups with PCs and everything like that, whether or not they'll be able to do that, no one knows.
You would assume so.
Well, it would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
It would be nice, but I don't know if LVP even knows that yet. So it could be in Barcelona again. It could be in the UK. We just don't know.
Oh, right? Nick disconnected and missed the whole stream. There we go. He's back.
But yeah, we don't know yet. That's unconfirmed. But I mean, it would be nice if it was in the UK, of course.
I mean, Rifty's just made a good point in chat. You know, it would be good to have an actual UK final in the UK. We'd have so many people coming to watch live. I've been countless times to the ESL studio, not just for League of Legends, Hearthstone, and like all the seats, like most of them are not even taken. There's empty seats. I want at least League of Legends to be what it was when we had the UK law, you know, people packing out the stadiums and crowds. Obviously, we'll never be at LVP's level. Comparing the Pro League to LVP is a bit different, but I would like to see that.
I mean, you won't.
I'm not so sure.
You wouldn't see G. I don't think you would see a Gfinity level. If that's a comparison, because obviously,
I mean, Gfinity is the best comparison because they are UK. They have the
But they have the Gfinity Arena, and that's a huge investment, and they've Gfinity have worked hard with their teams, and it's a whole franchising system. So to be able to set something up like that would take an insane amount of investment.
Well, I mean,
Gaming Sphere as well in London. That's another one.
Yep.
It is, but that's quite a small venue if you've actually been. It's not the kind of thing that you would have. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, ESL's shed in Leicester is bigger, but
that's what it is. That's what it is, to be fair.
No, it's a big shed. But you know, the reality is, like, you know, Riot have said this countless times on different interviews and with different sort of outlets, is that they're really invested in making the UK the best esports scene here in Europe, if not the world. So, you know, with a statement as strong as that, you know, it makes you wonder, like, what are they going to do? What do they have in the bag? If you know, the LVP thing is the benchmark, surely they have to top it, right? Like, surely.
We don't know. Nothing's confirmed right now, so.
No, exactly.
I couldn't. From what we know, it's at a good level, but I think what Nick is trying to say is that, like, we actually don't know what level they're going to bring it to.
Either way, like, it's still going to take time regardless. Like, next play, it's not going to be like some massive thing and like there's going to be like 10,000 people watching. It's still going to take time. So
I think we can get there.
Yeah,
we can get there.
I think we can get there, because what you got to think is, like, okay, so I mean this in a completely sort of, like, I say this totally plain as day. Every single team, like from the bottom to the top in the Premier sort of teams that were in Forge of Champions, worked the balls off. Like, I hope you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You know, but everyone worked the hardest in trying to promote themselves and trying to get out there and trying to, you know, rally up sort of support and things like that. And okay, whilst the scene itself right now is tiny, it's quite insular, it's quite sort of incestuous, everyone knows each other and things like that. There has been that ignition, you know, there has been that push. Riot and LVP have done things that, I don't mean this in a negative way, that ESL didn't do. They really got out there, they really promoted the channels, and things did grow. You look at the viewership figures from the start to the end, and all they did was slowly climb up. And all right, you can put a lot of that down to going onto front page on Twitch. It helps a lot, right? But that's exposure. Now, that's only this is trial phase. This is season 1, right? Yeah. There's more to come. Now, I think, given what came in with just a trial phase, and, you know, with a minor sort of input, and with them saying that they want to make it the biggest scene, I have no doubt that maybe in a year, maybe 2, you know, we could be looking at Gfinity level. Esports in the UK has really ignited over the past 12 months. Like, you can see a lot more people becoming engaged with esports, because you've got the likes of Overwatch League, you've got the likes of, like, Belong Arenas really promoting
even the
esports.
Last month alone with FIFA.
Exactly. You know, esports has really sort of picked up here in the UK, and I've been saying for the past sort of 2-3 years.
Oh.
No.
Nick's cut out.
Okay. I've cut out again.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Sorry, go back to your
I'm
point.
back.
Yeah, you're back. It's cool.
What did I miss? Oh, what we're saying was basically, long story short, 2019 is going to be the year for esports, especially here in the UK. And that's how I felt for a long time, and I don't think I'm wrong. I think we're going to see a massive explosion next year.
We're actually, like, the UK are basically all Liverpool fans. We just keep saying this is our year.
This is our year.
Hi again.
So we sort of spoke about what LVP have done well, but there was quite a few things that they didn't do too well. So the first the first 2 weeks, right, there was drama upon drama. The first piece of drama was Latch getting banned, which is he needed to be banned for what he did. Let's be honest, right? But the miscommunication between LVP and Newcastle Jaguars, it sets a precedent.
Wait, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Because LVP are nothing more than in the situation where people get banned. LVP are nothing more than a bystander in that, because it was dealt with Riot, right? Like, Riot are the people who actually investigate this. This is the exact same thing with the EU Twisted Fate thing, right? Like,
yeah,
EU Twisted Fate, like, he was banned on one of his, I believe the story is that he was banned on one of his other accounts, not the one that he uses, which is EU Twisted Fate. He was banned on one of his other accounts for scripting.
Yeah,
I believe it's correct, and that's why he then, because obviously the IP is the same, his account then got banned as well. Riot tell LVP this, and it is LVP are nothing more than a bystander. So there's a lot of situations that kept happening that like LVP got the blame for when it's actually nothing to do with them at all, right? Like, they are simply just communicating something that they've been told.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Even if it wasn't LVP, there was very, very much a miscommunication from both Riot and both LVP side. For Newcastle Jaguars, it comes around to the second week, they didn't even know Latch was banned. I was speaking to the coach at the time, which I think was Khan. They didn't even know until like the day of.
But was Latch I don't know 100% the situation, like the Latch situation, because I don't follow Latch, but in the sense of that,
I believe it was a ban for account sharing.
That he was banned? No, but was he banned? Did he know he was banned previously?
I mean, everyone knows if they're banned.
Yeah, like, if he knew he was banned, then why didn't he inform his manager?
That's a good point.
Like, why is it down to LVP to inform, especially when, like, you have to take it as well that you had the 8 Premiership teams, right? They were the ones that were like, okay, we automatically get through, and therefore we are watched a bit more closely. But with Newcastle Drags as coming into an open tournament, they may have played maybe in the first one, or I don't know which tournament we're talking about. But
it was really... after week 1 when they came to the second.
Yeah. So he gets banned, right? But it again, like, it's not up to LVP to inform people, because they're just running. They did. Players.
They did. Everyone got the same rule set. Like, be it Premiership teams or new starter teams or people that are just, trying it out. Like, everyone got the same rule set. So you knew the rules. And, just as with anyone else, the onus and the responsibility is on yourselves. If you have taken players in, if you've formed a team that can't compete, the onus is on you. That it says it in the rules itself. So for me, something like that, as unfortunate as it may be, the gatekeepers, they've got to hold the rules and they've got to hold them accountable, otherwise it just becomes chaos, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, picking up a player like Latch in the first place,
after
he's already been banned previously for account sharing and being too young to actually playing a league previously, like, picking that player up and you're expecting you not to receive any controversy is a bit, like, that's no disrespect to, like, Newcastle Jags, but you have to question why they decided to do that, right?
Yeah. Best brand in UK, by the way. I'm sorry, yeah. Like, even over us, like Newcastle Jags. Sorry, if you're watching, I love the things you do. It looks great, but you do, in my opinion, like, you have to research your players, because you have to know how that could not only just affect you in the actual position of your competition, but how it could affect you on social media, etc., and so on. It's very rough ground, and you should always do your research. And like I say, the onus is unfortunately on the team, like, irrelevant of what place you're starting from. I mean, maybe not so much for like chancer teams, people who are just coming together and forming a group to compete. I mean, that's a little different, because it's usually friends, and to be fair, you'd know if your mate's been banned. It's like, oh, I'm using my account, I have to make a new account because it got banned, right? Like, you'll know. So with that one, okay, it's unfortunate, but you should have done your research. And it's rubbish, because you can be told one thing and find out another, right? And that sucks. But then, like, in the other sort of rule issues that appeared throughout the span of the competition, there were some that were more questionable than others, in my opinion.
Speaking of I did want to move on to that after this. Hopefully I didn't interrupt you. Reclamation is in chat, so you can tell me if I get any of this wrong. Week 2, we move on to Wind and Rain in, I think it was the quarterfinals versus, or the quarterfinals of the open bracket versus Digital Warfare, right? And Wind and Rain got a disqualification and then banned from the tournament for that week because of
the name change, right?
The name change in the rule set. Do you think that was fair?
Okay. The rules, you just gotta buy it.
Because from what I remember talking to Reclamation on this at the time, he said he spoke to the admins the previous week and they were okay with it. It was all fine. When it comes around to week 2, suddenly it's not okay.
No, wait. The distinction is that in the first week, the reason why it happened is that when Wind and Rain played in the finals of the first tournament, they have so LVP have an automatic system that brings highlights that issue. However, it was for some reason that system did not flag up the name problem in the second tournament. However, the system then did. So in the rule books, they look at the rule books saying, well, you can't do this. Even though it has previously happened, we can't do anything about that now. I mean, we can take away your points if that's what you want, Wind and Rain, but obviously they don't want that. Yeah. Better it be that the rules are in place. They then say, okay, well that's no problem. Well, we have to ban you because of this issue. Again, the name change issue, like Nick said earlier, everyone got the same rule book. It was very plain in there that you can't. You have to use the account that you register with. If that counter gets banned, then you either have to bring that up to an admin before the game. I don't know what would happen then, but
yeah,
it depends how you measure it against other things. Like people have put, I'm reading through the chat on my phone. If I'm looking down here, it's because I'm looking down on my phone because for some reason having it up there caused me to DC whatever. But it is. I'm happy that, just like Ferndog said here, I'm happy that LVP was strict when it came to rules and stuff, but it's just that there's got to be a level playing field, in my opinion. If you're going to be as hard as you have been with War and with Newcastle Jags and whatever other minor infractions they were, then you have to be as hard throughout, right? In my opinion. And there was occasions, and I won't go into details because I don't want to infer things or cause any controversy or don't want to click in it. But in my opinion, I don't believe that there was a consistent approach throughout the tournament, in my opinion.
I'd agree with that.
The only thing that annoyed me for that season, that actually, which is an event that actually did annoy me, is why weren't certain players checked? Because I knew that Lidder wasn't. But when Lidder was and I don't mind talking about this because I know when Lidder was registered for Misfits, my coach literally said to me, because Hansen's from the Nordic League, he was like, "Wait, he's played in Nordic the whole season." However, we didn't contest it at the time because we didn't know the situation.
Yeah.
But all I had to do was go on to get Leaguepedia and instantly see the games that he's played in and see that he's played over 50% of the league, just the regular season. But he actually went into playoffs, so he should never have been allowed to play that tournament. And do you know what? It actually affected us the most because in the fourth tournament we played versus. I would say it affected us a lot. Sorry, not the most, but us a lot. I would say because in the fourth tournament, the way that Leader played completely counteracted Aaron. So we were in a situation where we hadn't practiced at all versus a playstyle that they brought out, and it was like, oh well, we're gonna keep playing the same way that we've been practicing, but Leaders just counters us completely. So it's a massive problem for us, and he should never have played in that match. But like they did, they brought in Special, which we all feared anyway. So.
I mean, the reality is, whichever way that situation would have gone, it has still been a rough situation. But there's a sort of overarching reality which I think the community responded to quite appropriately, in my opinion, was that there was one hand for one and another hand for another, and
it's not
and I can appreciate that, and I can see why people were frustrated by that. I stayed very quiet about it because, like Phil said, you don't know what has been discussed, and you do just trust in especially in such a big name like LVP and Riot, and I believe that some mistakes were made, clearly, but as a professional organization, you have to assume that these things are being handled and the correct procedures have been followed and so on.
I mean, on the one more point that I'd like to bring up on the situation is that I do not know what went on in that situation that allowed. I mean, I think LVP. I don't know if they made that public, so I don't want to comment on it. But I know
there was no public statement about it.
Every LVP when I knew that Lido was playing, I just took it as, okay, there's something that must have happened here that allowed it. And it's the exact same situation that happened with Diablous, where you guys got 2 extra subs instead of 1, which all the other teams did. I just took it as, okay, well, LVP, there's a situation here that's happened that LVP have deemed that this is necessary, and therefore there's no reason to contest it. And in that sense, you then have to look at the Lido situation and the Diablous situation and think, well, they're actually equal. They've assessed both situations and given leeway. So have they done the same thing? Have they done the same thing across the tournaments? Or
well, I heard behind the scenes that one of the teams, some of their roster didn't even meet residency rules that were in the main rule set, and they shouldn't have even been playing or had a team.
I think that's speculation. So I wouldn't.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. There's not a clear, concise rule set. There's definitely lessons to be learned for LVP, especially coming into the next split, which I don't think's been announced yet, correct?
There's been nothing announced yet. I mean, there was a clear rule set. I mean, I just have to backtrack a little bit. And I don't want to sound like I'm on Mr. Defensive LVP, but there was a clear rule set out for us all. For our situation, I think we publicly stated as to most of what happened, but obviously some of it we have to keep personal and private for obvious reasons. But with ours, I remember there was a big process that we had to go through. We had to explain the situation that we had in house, and we had to act accordingly. And we said, "This is the situation we're in. Whatever you deem necessary is right." And they made their assumption, and they made their deem, and that's the direction that we went. To be personally honest, I wasn't even aware of the leader situation up until everything blew up online about it, and it was like, what? And that's just my naivety. But like I say, I just hark back to it. You expect that there'd be an equal hand in all things, and obviously, given our situation, I'm not about to question them on due course or whatever you'd call it, because at the end of the day, we'd been through a process, and I'd just assume that others had been through their own processes and things that we thought weren't exactly on the rule set.
Wait, Nick, just out of interest, I can't remember, but wasn't also and then this is something that we I think I checked as well, is that Balulu also didn't. I think did Balulu play previously in another tournament before coming on to Diablous? Because I don't.
I'm not sure.
I might be chatting out my ass, but I can't.
Honestly, this is my naivety. Honestly, I have no idea. We passed on information to Riot, and we said, right, okay, these are our options. Can you ensure these options are correct and these options stand?
Yeah.
And that's all we did. We passed that to them. We said, can you ensure this?
And if they've said okay, that's fine.
Well, there was a few options, and there was some that there was a flat out no. So you just I'm not sat there. We pay people to do that for us. They do the research, and they're the coach and they're the manager, etc., etc. So when they offer selections, we were the contact with Riot. When we pass that over to Riot and say, right, okay, here are our options. This is what we have. Can you tell us this? They said no to some, and they said yes to others, and it was like, right, okay, this is where we'll go.
The thing is that what I struggle with is I find it hard that Misfits didn't know that Leader played in the Nordic scene. I find it hard to believe. So I don't know. I feel like punishment should just be fair throughout, unless well, I'm not a dad, but I imagine how you raise a child. You can't punish one kid for something and not punish the other kid for doing the same thing. It's not how things work, and obviously the team is going to feel a bit upset. Obviously, if they're getting punished for something that's not quite as bad as something that actually impacts the final 4 teams that's going in,
That's the biggest
I
question.
think it's
isn't
really
it?
bad. I think it's really bad, and they got let off for a more worse scenario.
In a sense, the person was the leader came halfway through, or like actually not even halfway through. Like 75% of the season was already done, right? So you would kind of think from that, okay, this player's coming in at this point. What has he done previously? Maybe we should check this. But oh well, it happened. But I mean, they brought in special anyway, which we were all scared shitless of anyway. So
That's the last thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, the thing is, Riot, I don't know if it was publicly stated, but Riot did say that they'd made a mistake, and they were open with that. And then they obviously made them substitute him out, which everyone's got their own opinion on whether that was right or wrong or any of the above, and what they believe should have happened, and everyone's completely entitled to their opinion and no one's wrong. But at the end of the day, Riot did take action, which is the least that we can expect, I suppose. Whether it was the right action or not is all up for debate, and you know, when LVP and Riot are asking for feedback, these are definitely things that you should be mentioning. Like, if that's how you felt as a viewer or as a participant, these are things that you should mention, because they have been open. They've wanted feedback because they want to grow the scene, and I think that's what's important.
No, 100%.
Sorry,
Cameron.
Sorry. Do you have anything else to add, Jakey?
Nah.
So, moving on from that, the Forge of Champions fed into the EU Masters here. So I'm going to pour a little bit of salt on Phil here.
Hell yeah.
Enclave got through in the play-in, and Misfits got through because they won the entire tournament, if I'm correct.
But let's come on, like, they went out instantly. We hung in there for about a week, so I mean,
Yes.
only because the tournament, you know, ended that way or started that way. But yeah.
So I'm just looking at the Leaguepedias now. Misfits actually went 0-3, and I believe Enclave made it through some of the play-ins with 2 wins and about 3 or 4 losses, if I'm correct.
So we won.
Yeah, 2-4.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that we did in EU Masters was we beat Giants, and that was on the Monday, I believe. So, and then after that, I think we went on a bit of a. There were some interesting moments that happened, as always with Enclave. I mean, the saltiest thing that from EU Masters was the game versus Ninjas and Pajamas.
Yeah.
When we were winning, and Monkus decided to just Zach jump in, and he didn't throw the game because there were loads of little mistakes up to that, but that was the defining moment that actually this game was really easy, and then we just kind of threw it a bit. So I think that loss was a bit sad, but we went versus some decent teams in Europe, and we performed versus them. We didn't get the win, and there were obvious cracks in our play, but I still think that we showed that we could compete versus certain other leagues. We just maybe haven't got that quality yet to maybe just finish off the games. But I'm sure we're still going up against people who have resources that. I mean, the only team that I would say that like really had less resources than us was the Polish team. What's their name? The one that had
Diablous in it.
Oh.
Yeah, Diablous team. Like the only.
Probably butchered that name.
Yeah, no, like they were the only ones that I think.
I'm just gonna post the Leaguepedia in chat in case anyone wants to look at it, or what we're looking at.
Yeah, like I think they were the only ones that like they came out of the Polish league, and like they had a lot of talent on it, and they did really well. But again, back to our performance, I would still say
performed better than Misfits for sure.
I don't know, because obviously Misfits did play teams that were in the group stages. However, I believe the
Team Echo Zulu, Asus Rogali, and Gentside in their group.
Yeah, I mean, we went against Gentside, and also we performed versus them as well. So again, like we showed up, and especially better than last season's EU Masters, which was kind of just a culmination of a lot of tilt that I think went into that roster with the Paris Frappy roster, where Frappy was just like, I'm gonna end this game. Which we were not happy with, but this time it was just a lot more there's a lot more passion from the team to try and do well. I mean, like you generally should have. I wish everyone here could have heard the comms after that game versus Giants. I think, just pure.
Who knows with the content that LVP are going to release?
No,
that'd be you Masters that would release it, wouldn't it?
It was sadly on our own, but like it was just pure euphoria, and I think that Rifty could attest to that. It was great, but I mean, EU Masters is fantastic for us to get our brand out into the international scene.
And you've done it twice now as well, so that's
yeah.
So that's the thing, right? It's twice now we've done
on
that,
the question of Enclave doing it twice. My question around the EU Masters is: do you think that the UK will ever be able to compete on an international level? Because Europe as a region, we do well on an international level, but the UK, we haven't really done anything international, like had players or teams go through since I think it was early 2016, maybe 2017, when Max Law and Alfari got through to the LCS.
I mean, like in international, there was always the Challenger Series, which Eminem got into, and Rifty was on. Rifty Haddo were both on that team with Kadir, Larson, and Luders, I believe. So they competed on the international. So UK was there, and then when it changed over to EU Masters, like obviously last season because of how the whole ERL, the Challenger Series ended, it happened that 4 UK teams were in there. So 4 UK teams did compete, and I mean, like Daruk actually just said in the chat right now, I do think that Misfits was a better roster. For some reason it just didn't click in the EU Masters, but for us, twice in Europe, especially with Misfits, like that Misfits team, if they would have actually clicked together, you saw what they could do versus I think in the first 2 games versus Diablous, right? Like they just completely dismantled them.
Yeah.
And then DBL actually woke up and it went to 5 games. Was it 5 games or 4 games?
It was 5.
5 games.
Yeah, so like finally DBL woke up and they pushed them to, Blue Lagoon kind of got them, rallied and pushed them to a 5th game. But, Misfits on form, I think, would have gone actually further than they did. But for some reason, again, it didn't. They had a bad roster fleet. Oh wait, was that because they couldn't? Mid laner changed again. Who did they use?
Yeah, they had. They brought.
Oh yeah.
Was it Energy? No, what Energy?
It was
what's
Energy.
It called? What's Energy?
It was
what
Energy.
Did they bring in?
They brought in Energy because Special couldn't play because of the LCS rule. And was it or whatever? And then obviously Leader couldn't play because it had to be the only sub you could pick had to be from who was already in the region.
Yeah,
I believe actually. I can't remember. But I mean, if they would have had Special, they definitely would have done better.
I think they would have done way better with Special.
Yeah, but like, your question is, can the UK compete on an international level? Yes, we've done it the whole of 2018.
Do you mean like UK with imports? Or like a full UK team?
UK with imports, but actually perform enough to make it further through challenging.
Again, yeah, Misfits could
100%.
Yeah, like Special.
And this has been proven time and time again. Like you look at, you look at some of the LCS players. Some of the LCS players have either competed in the UK or are from the UK. You've got, we had Larson, Smiley, and people like that. They were competing on a national stage. We had Cajal competed on a national stage. He's competed in LCS.
Look at Whippo. Whippo played in the UK scene and he's playing finals.
and this is it. Like, the UK can produce talent. The difference is the platform. So you look at the likes of Spain, you look at the likes, all these other areas, especially in EU. We take EU as a sample, right?
Yeah.
Every other area in the EU has a really strong national scene which can develop them players that can grow and go forward, or develop teams that can grow and go forward, etc., etc. Now, has that been there previously? In the past, definitely. Has that been there in the more recent past? No. That's my opinion. This is no flame to previous tournament organisers and stuff, but have we got a future with it? Well, definitely, because if Riot Games are involved, and Riot specifically, with the likes of Mo, are saying, "Oh, we want to make the UK the strongest scene in the EU." I mean, it's a tall order. I mean, he's asking for a lot there, but when they've got such a specific focus on that, of course. So they've given us a platform, and now we've got a platform, and there's all these people who are going to start getting hungry and want to be at the top level. So they're going to work for it, and it's about the people that want to work for it. When you've got a national scene that's there that has the stardom to it, like Spain. Spain's a great example. Spain has an immense scene. Like, you know, these players are paid pop star wages to do this as a job, and you know, we don't have that here at the moment in the UK, but we will. Because now we've got a platform, now we've got some genuine interest, we've got Riot support, we've got, you know, proper organisation behind it that want to push it. It is the primary focus. You know, this is no flame to ESL. ESL have got several different properties. Like, they've got a lot to focus on. So did they have concrete focus on the UK and League of Legends? No, of course they didn't. Because they've got other bigger properties that they've got to focus on. Yeah. LVP and Riot combined in you know, this Forge of Champions or whatever might be coming in the future, that's a singular property to focus on. They've got a singular focus. So with that singular focus comes more than if you spread it thin. Do you know what I mean? So I believe that it's going to give people the hunger to want to be more, want to be in that limelight, and want to be these people that they're following on Twitter or watching on streams on Twitch and so on and so forth. That's the difference now. Whereas in the past, you've got people that have climbed up through going to different places. Like, you know, these players that we've seen in LCS in the past, they've been in other ERLs and stuff, and they've competed there, and they've climbed up through the ranks that way. Whereas now, we've got the opportunity to have that rank here with us. And does that mean that they need to go to LCS? Maybe not. Maybe something really big's coming for the UK. Maybe there's going to be a big explosion of the scene, and maybe they don't want to go further than that. Maybe here's the top spot for them.
Sorry, just to interrupt before you talk, Phil. I will say, like, I do agree. And the UK over the last year and a half has become more of an even playing field in terms of talent. I remember 2 years ago, I'd speak to anyone at the top. They'd say UK scene was free money, easy money. You know, that was the meme at the time. Now it's not easy money. We're getting this investment, playing fields leveling out, and there's a lot more competition at the top.
I mean, the thing is, and the thing is, it does come. The investment out, all the rest of it comes from, as people are saying in the chat, and absolutely rightly so, comes from the scene that's there, comes from the fans, comes from people that want to watch. And yes, you're all in chat absolutely correct. It's not there yet. And that's the biggest thing, is yet, because it takes people to invest in growing that fan base, in growing that support, and whether that is from the tournament organisers like Riot and LVP, or whether it's from the teams like the teams that are here now, you know, and the other teams. We've got some fantastic teams here in the UK. Like, I've got loads of love for pretty much all the teams here. I think everyone works so hard, and you know, albeit it's quite incestuous, everyone knows each other, and they're the same people that follow and watch and all the rest of it. You all here in chat are likely from other organisations, but hopefully soon people are going to be spreading them wings, and they're going to be trying to get bigger crowds, and they're going to try and grow that fan base for the right reasons, and then we hopefully grow the scene, and then that perpetuates itself. It becomes a snowball.
So wait, okay, the easy answer to your question, Cameron, is can the UK scene produce talent that will compete on an international level?
Yes.
Any like, that's, I think, is a statement that is like a question that is like, anyone can do that, right? It's more the fact, is it realistic that soon that the UK will get enough spot, like, because to be able to produce talent, you have to do what XL are doing, right? You have to have a good infrastructure. You have to have an infrastructure that allows you to keep players, to be able to grow them, to be able to create them. I mean, look what XL have done with Venza. Like, Venza for me is one of the best players was in the Forge Champions last season. When he actually gets onto a big stage, that guy is genuinely insane what he can achieve. Now XL are brought into that level through their current infrastructure. However, XL right now are the only team that I would say are doing that. Is it
for now?
For now, is it possible that that more teams will start to do that in the future? I don't know. XL have had a great start because they've they started off the Gfinity League, and through that they've been able to bring their investment over to League. Obviously, DBL have come in with their with your investment, and now you've just actually signed a new investor. So you have that avenue, but again, how long are each business model is going to continue to last? How sustainable is all of our investment going to be? Will the UK change to a level that people actually want to sponsor it again? Because right now, I would say sponsors are scared to sponsor us because of there's so many. I can do a whole podcast about that, so I'm not going to jump into it.
Maybe next week we'll save that.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that is there possible right now that the UK can get enough investment and sponsorship to create what XL are to mimic what XL are doing and across the board? Is that something that's viable right now? I don't know.
I think it's absolutely viable. Like,
sorry,
it's no, I don't want to interrupt anyone, but am I still muted?
No.
All right, okay. Sorry, I messaged carefully. I think it's absolutely viable. The problem is it's and this is for all the teams. It's finding avenues to grow that fan base. The fan base is what matters. If there's no fan base, if there's no one watching, then there's nothing to sell to sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Like XL did it amazingly well, like you say. And I have to absolutely echo what Phil said. They've gone from a really well franchised league in Gfinity, and they've captured fan base from that, and they've moved that over to being fans for them, and then they've used what they've had in terms of sponsorship from that to then secure players for a longer period rather than having players that come and go. Like your overnight stop and stay players, like each season where you'll swap it out and swap it out and swap it out. Like, they've been able to secure them and say, right, let's work on you, let's mold you, and then you've had players like they have, which have just absolutely dominated and been really, really strong. Can other teams do that? Absolutely. And now is the core time for teams to be doing that. There's an absolute opportunity now, especially, like I say, with the interested parties that are here already that we've already discussed. There's a platform. It's down to us to grow that platform for ourselves and also for the scene. Yeah, and everyone will have their own business models on that. Everyone will have their own ideas on how to do that. And hopefully it comes at a good price that people then start talking to each other about how they can collaborate to do that. And I think that's one thing that the UK scene specifically has probably been missing, is that they're not coming together and going, how can we get sponsors more interested in this scene specifically? Like, screw every other scene. Like, forget about them. Think about them, learn from them. But thinking about us, how can we get sponsors again to go and trust and go, there is a reason to put money into this? Because there's clearly a reason, because they're doing it with the likes of XL. Yeah, XL are a UK team. They're no other team than a UK team. They are a UK only team. Now, why is sponsors sponsoring XL? Well, they've got a business plan. They've got a model that is attractive to sponsors. What is that model? Well, that's for everyone else to decide. But they've done that. So there is sponsors there, and they are almost prepared to jump on the back of other things, but you need to have a reason to give them to do so. And if people got their heads together and they start collaborating more and go, how can we make the UK as a whole more attractive, then we'd get there. And I think we will get there. I think you can see, now in the off season for League of Legends specifically, you can see teams are talking more. You can see that camaraderie is coming back, and that companionship's coming back, as opposed to it being like, oh, we need to lock down now because we're in competition, which is right, and I get that. But I genuinely feel there's going to be a lot more coming in 2019. I think a lot more people are going to rise up, no pun intended for Worlds and all the rest of it, but I think we're going to see that. And I think Worlds is going to do us a massive favour as well, because a lot more eyes are going to be turned to the EU, and we're still part of that now. For now,
yeah.
Brexit and all that. Geographically, we can't really change that, so it'll be fine. Like, they're not gonna when it comes to. Oh, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
Wait, Jakey, what do you think, buddy? Yeah, we haven't heard you. What do you think?
Well, I think that the UK has not had much potential to shine because they've never really been a big platform. Well, obviously this is what LPP are trying to do, but to Cameron's question, can the UK teams come through and shine on the international level? Yes, but it's going to be becoming more of a frequent thing once we have this infrastructure that LVP are trying to put in place. I'm sure next play there's going to be at least 2 gaming houses again. You know what I mean?
That's becoming a meme.
Whoa, sorry, did you say there's going to be a gaming house for DBL?
I don't know.
Not true. I'm just going to.
No, he's going to.
I can only assume something like that's going to be in place. So, can UK shine? I'm sure it can. Like they have done, and like some players have shown. But I think as time goes on and as these UK teams get more infrastructure, then it's going to become more of a frequent thing.
Yeah.
Like UK scene's already more attractive than what it was 12, 18 months ago.
So
without a fight.
Moving on from this, because we have been on EU Masters for quite a bit now. So Nick, you mentioned talent and growing the talent pools. The British Esports Championship. So I'm just going to link this in the chat for everyone watching. They've finished, or they're nearly finishing their first season, and the second season opens up in December. Do you think that we will start seeing what we had 2 years ago, with big orgs picking up academy teams and using the pool of players that the British Esports Championship is going to be providing for talent? Do you reckon we'll see teams and orgs picking up academy teams to build that pool of talent? So just in case you're not aware, this is for people aged 12 to 19 who are at college or school, and the games they're running are League of Legends, Overwatch and Rocket League currently, with that being potentially more games in the future.
I mean, there's a lot I have to say for what British Esports Association and the other collaborators have done with that, and I think it's a great thing, because again it only helps to build the scene, right? If you expose it more and more people are involved because they know what's going on, or they want to know more what's going on, and I think that's a great thing that they've done. But will it change the talent pool and things like that? Absolutely, because more people being involved and more people being activated into esports here in the UK is only going to make a difference, right? So, there's a lot of schools and colleges that a lot of people are talking to at the moment, and you can see there's this ignition already. Like people I get messages all the time literally about this subject, and it's really interesting because it's been there in the past and then it died off like several years ago, and then now it's coming back. And it's a weird one because all it's done is elevate the platform of, like, say, the teams here, right? So instead of them being what was seen as grassroots, now they're not, because there's a tier
below.
And this is no offense, there's a tier below that because of the age range and all the rest of it, because most of the competitions would be like 16 plus and things like that. So, but you see what I mean? Like there is that new entry level. Now, that's only going to push the higher levels even higher, because as the lower teams are growing and all the rest of it, that's going to give more pressure to the people who are already at the top, and it's going to push them to work harder and harder to stay
to keep
at that pinnacle, right? And I think competition is always a good thing. Competition is good for everyone. It makes you recognise your faults and what you can do better. And, I think all round it's a good thing. Will it mean that there'll be academy rosters? I don't know. Because, again, it's about that sustainability that Phil mentioned before.
Enclave does part 2.
Oh, no more of that. No, okay, so on academy teams, no academy teams, simply because the talent isn't, we talk about talent pools, right? However, what's the point of having an academy team? Where would they participate? I tried to participate in Forge Champions where, we don't even know how that's, how the next Forge Champions is going to work, how people get in there, etc. So academy teams, I don't see, there's not a need for them right now. There's not enough, most of the people that you would say, oh, okay, let's put on academy teams aren't at the skill level where they could actually compete in a major,
I wasn't on about them competing. I was more talking about orgs potentially picking up these teams that are in the championship and working and building them up to the level of Forge of Champions.
Do you know what? I'm gonna flame. Wait, what is it? Is it called the British Esports Association?
I believe so. Yeah. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna flame these guys a bit now.
Okay.
Okay. So they're the British Esports Association, right? Yeah. I've never. The only time that I've been contacted to really help or do anything within esports for the British Esports Association is through Dom Stacco, and that's getting invited to maybe an event or something.
Yeah.
But I did not know about this championship until you told me, Cameron.
Oh.
Therefore, I'm and this is the thing, Enclave, I would like to say is a big brand in the UK, right? It was a big brand, and XL, Enclave, Diablous, Barrage, all these different
Wind and
teams.
Rain, yeah.
Wind and Rain, whether or not they're a British team, we don't know, but No, like,
the spice. The spice is out.
No, are they a British team? Like we don't know because like they've been around in different scenes. Like
their head office is in Stockport, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I don't know. I've never been clear about that. However, like the British Esports Association, I have always found that they've never really contacted us as esports organisations for us to help in any way. Like, so I would love to get in contact with these championships and actually look at these championships, right?
Yeah.
To see whether or not you know, we could help in some way. Maybe we can create a path to actually, okay, the people who win these championships get a shot at a trial at one of our teams. You know, like get a shot in our trials. They get invited to them. Like these different things that you can create a path from grassroots to what I would call at least the semi-professional scene in the UK.
Yeah.
They're not making these connections, and I've always been annoyed at that because again, their branding is the British Esports Association. However, their involvement in esports and getting in contact with esports in the UK is another question altogether. So I would love for them to reach out to us more. I would love to communicate more. I think somebody said, which is funny enough, that somebody said at the what was the meet ESI, was it ESI in London? Somebody said
ESI, yeah.
We need more cooperation in the UK. Well, I've been trying to cooperate with everyone, but you know what? Everyone's just looking out for themselves. So how the hell am I supposed to do it? You know?
I think the problem with that is the British Esports Association wasn't set up to be an aid or anything. Well,
no, it is.
There's a lot of different things. On their
on their website,
I get that.
It has articles on like trying to give advice to different people. But again, like
their scope has been around towards. If you look through their articles, most of their scope has been around towards sort of like helping. And I've forwarded people there, like helping parents whose children are being involved in esports and things like that. I think it's been more of an informative like association, even though its mandate has been for other things. And it's a rough ground. It's nice to see that they're doing what we would expect from an organisation named the British Esports Association, and that's a good thing, and that's the thing to focus on. But you're right. They haven't done much in British esports. There hasn't been any reach out or help or wanting to be involved or any of the above. Totally right.
I would like to see
maybe
Diablous, Enclave, Excel, all of those. So how it works is British Esports Association, they've got an advisory board, which is their investor Chester King, a few other people, Odie from Dignitas, those sort of people are on the board. I'd like to see more like Nick, yourself, on those advisory boards, and providing your opinion on the scene.
Yeah, like we're the ones. I've been in now the UK scene for 3 years, like battling as an org owner. Where like OD for Dignitas. Yes, like Dignitas is a big brand, but I don't see them in the ESL Prem. I don't see them in.
They're not in the British esports scene.
Yeah, like they aren't. So what kind of like I had no flame towards obviously Dignitas, but like what are they bringing to the plate to trying to say to the British Esports Association, oh, this is an area you could really help? And guess what? A lot of different people who are entering British esports or setting up organizations, we all self-taught.
Yeah.
And do you know what? It would be really nice if they had, I don't know, like they would.
So I'm reaching out.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't. So, that's one of the things that frustrates me. Again, fantastic they're doing this, and like I like it because there needs to be better like more ways for people to get from grassroots esports into or people just who do gaming into esports, because gaming and esports are two different things, right? And that's what we really need help
so
with.
True.
One of the problems we have right now for viewership in the UK is that a lot of the UK games, there's no illusion to that. I mean, I work in an office as a sales exec, and I never hear the end of mothers talking about bloody Fortnite. It drives me crazy. Like, people do game.
True.
People do game, but like, but whether or not they play esports is a different thing, and there needs to be a connection between that, which would be fantastic. Something that we've tried to do quite a lot at Enclave. But it's fantastic they're doing this. But hey, I'm here to help. I have a lot of experience. Maybe you want to talk to me. I don't know.
British Esports UK Association. If you are listening, Phil is offering his services right now. Just
And for free. Imagine that.
I don't believe that, Phil. I don't fucking believe that, lad.
I think what Phil's saying is echoed by pretty much everyone that's in an ownership or in a sort of higher up position within like an organisation here in the UK. I don't think anyone would snub their nose at the likes of Dom Sacco or someone from the British Esports Association coming over and saying, "Hey, we wanted to talk to you guys. We wanted your scope on the things." And I don't think no one's going to say no. And they're stepping up and they're doing what they're doing. It's only going to benefit all of us, in my opinion. So I'm happy. Frankly, and it's going to sound really awful. I don't really mind or care what they do. If they're doing something that benefits us, great. But like I've found it a valuable resource with the things that they did already. Like I work with a lot of charity stuff. Well, my wife does, and my wife's family do a lot of stuff with charity, and I get involved in things like that as well. And so many mothers come to me and say, like, "Oh, Fortnite, like, I'm spending like £200 a month on this Fortnite game. It's really, but they need to spend it." And it's like, oh, hold on, let me just send you to this website, and immediately like, oh my god, thank you. So they've done something that's been great, but has it been about esports? The answer's no, in my opinion. It's about gaming, and
it's about setting something up for school age to college level.
Absolutely. But what they're doing now is absolutely about esports, and it's absolutely fitting to the name and their ideals and the things that they wanted to do. It's absolutely perfect, and I'm overjoyed that it's happening because it only benefits the whole scene. Like, if there's more people engaged with it, more people know about it, you're seeing these teams appear like all over these different schools. It means that people are going to be watching the other programs that are on it, which might be things that we're competing in.
I loved
it's great.
I know, Cameron. They did a school. I think actually was you there, Cameron?
Yeah, I was a part of the first setup in London at a library that was setting up Rocket League for 4 weeks in advance.
Fantastic, and that's great things that I think it's amazing that the Esports Association do it, and my little rant earlier was not to say that they don't do anything in British esports, because they do, and a lot of the work that they do is actually very helpful to me indirectly. However, it would be fantastic if we can have more of an impact directly. And Dom has give it to him. He has reached out to me previously and arranged things, and I've partaken in that. But it would just be a nice more if they had an advisory board of orgs that actually were
on the ground floor.
Yeah, and this is something that is just it's annoying me a bit, because when I started out in esports, they also kind of set up at the same time. It was like, okay, well, let's see the impact of this.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been seen. But I mean, Jakey, from your point of view, it was just someone for instance, Jakey, when you were setting up Vim, right? I think that's a very vital time that you could have used a lot of helpful information on stuff like business plans, etc. But you were never offered that, I imagine.
Well, no. To be honest, I didn't really know anything that was offering such an advisory thing. To be honest, that's all I can really say about it. We spent a lot of money, and we made business plans by ourselves, but obviously none of us have really ran a business as such, so we didn't really know too much.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they offer or anything like that, but
currently I don't believe they do.
Yeah, well, if there was something of the such, obviously that would help teams, especially new ones, even Hyperion and other teams such like that. That would help teams get sponsorships and help them with an actual target to move forward to. But regarding the British Esports Association, I think it would be nice if there were a connection between teams, even for doing this college championship or stuff league, even if they just invited the teams just to go watch the finals or something like that, for a young player, knowing you're not necessarily going to be scouted, but someone's actually paying attention from actual esports. I think that'd be a good boost.
We do
anything like that.
We do. I pay attention to when they did the last scouting grounds. We paid attention to them. We gave trials to those players.
Yeah.
That we found interesting. So it's not I definitely watch. I watch every. I consume a lot of UK stuff, but like Jakey said, when in America, for instance, the comparison you can make is that when people go to like scouts go to games, to football games, and they watch, and if they're interested, they get contacted, and it would be something that I would love to do is, like, for instance, with the Newell, right? Like at the Newell finals, like they did it was Overwatch mainly, it wasn't, and then they did League, I believe, and like I was there looking at that because the Newell is a good place where we can look at talent. So I think these championships, another great way for us to do it, for us to look at it. But
hey, the more the merrier, isn't it?
And for them to actually talk to us as well and ask us about esports on the ground level, it's more information for them. And even like if parents turn up, it's just more for everyone. Like,
exactly.
I think that'd be a great idea, to be honest.
Anyone else have anything to add on the British Esports Championships?
I just think it's awesome.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's going to be great. I'd love to see what comes from it. The biggest thing for me is that I hope that it's not just like an online tournament, that it's not just sort of sat to the wayside. I hope it has some longevity and some specific
I think there is planned to be
focus.
A finals for it, like a live finals.
That'd be absolutely amazing, and I would actually attend if I got the time. Like if I'm not working.
I think most of us would. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Like, and it really then highlights like, oh, you can be this person. Do you know what I mean? It inspires more people to do the same, right? But inspiration can also lead to them then becoming fans of the people that they're inspired by, and it just grows the scene as a whole. I just hope that it isn't just a fleeting dream. Do you know what I mean? I hope that it's not just something that just is there 1 minute and then gone the next. Like if it gets some proper support put behind it, some proper funding put behind it, and then proper production put behind it, so then there's media and everything else, then it'll be great. I think without that, unfortunately, I don't see it having a larger impact on the scene as a whole. Whether it be in League of Legends, Overwatch, CS:GO, any Rocket League, any of the above. I think it needs to have a solid ground and a dedicated focus before it could be really impactful. And it could easily have that. It just needs to have people do that. And I'm sure British Esports Association will strive towards that. I have absolutely no doubt. I just hope that that's what actually happens.
Okay. Well, moving on to tournaments, Jakey, would you like to provide us some information about the proving grounds, when it's happening, what's going on, and then we'll discuss it a little bit more?
Spill the beans, Jake.
So proving grounds, it's sort of a byproduct of Ferndog Scouting Grounds, but it's more for the people that's trying to like they're trying to improve and trying to get to like the better level. So we're like looking at like D5, D4, D3 players, and we're helping. Well, what we're trying to do is basically put them in
front of
a team environment. Yeah, put them into an actual environment, get them some experience, and put them in front of organisations. It might not be top 8 organisations, but they've got other teams like Newcastle Jags and all these other organisations that will be looking for players next split. And we're just trying to push the players.
We're all looking like a
well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
have expressed their intent to do an all-British team, if I'm not wrong. So,
who knows?
Well, I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny. But
there's no good British team, so they're gonna need one. They're gonna have to be looking.
And there you go. But that only comes from what?
I'm gonna leave you hanging.
Jesus. I give up. That's it. Right. Thank you very much for coming.
Nick's out.
Oh, the joke. No, that only comes from what we were saying before. It comes from there being a reason for talent to want to grow and people to want to get involved. Like, I know, right, before we started Diablous, I already had someone in mind, a few people in mind that were amazing mid-laner, that constantly sat at the top of challenger ladders and stuff like that. Did they ever compete? No. Why? Because they didn't feel that there was a platform to do it. You know, they had different aspirations. And if you gave them a bit of a more open platform, damn right you'd have seen that. There'd have been some amazing things. Did they know about Proving Grounds? No. Like, it's about us getting this out there. How can we get it marketed? And then people would know, and then you'd see this talent grow, and you'd see this talent appear.
What happened from the like the original scouting grounds that no, it's not, what was that Ferndog did? We got Nulty from it.
Yeah.
Did we get who's the ADC for Hyperion?
Oh, we had, well, it was Aether at the time that I picked up.
No, but like who was
You Twisted Fate was the one that actually played.
No, sorry. Who was the one that we picked up for a substitute? I've forgotten. I'm so
sorry. You're about
Phil.
Yusa.
Yeah, so was Yusa a part of that?
No, he wasn't.
No. So it was Nulty. Nulty was someone that no one really knew of. But he was like constantly high master, and actually last season did fantastically as for War in the jungle. You know, like for a top lane. James came from that, and I mean, like I already knew about James because he was a sub for Enclave in the ESL in our first ever ESL split, and like I've always been close to James, but like that really set his position in Barrage, which he went to Insomnia with, and they obviously played. They didn't do quite well in the FOC, but I feel that they did play against the hardest teams every single round. But like Nulty was fantastic, James was fantastic, so you know there were talent that was shown by this.
Well, yeah, that's the
speaking
the main
of
point
talent
of
and
it.
proving grounds, do you think like these tier lists that these random ass tier lists that like people do you agree these are like it's laughable, irrelevant. Right? It's laughable, right? Some of
irrelevant. They're absolutely irrelevant. Like
I'm gonna say my opinion on it, and I'm gonna leave it, and then Jakey's gonna talk.
Might drop out. Yeah.
Very, very quick. If you're salty about a tier list, think of the reason why you're not on the tier list, and that's it. Don't blame other people. Don't blame this side of it. Think about it, and then just go, okay, I'll work on that, and then that's it. Boom, done.
If you can't handle other people's opinions of you, then you will never be a professional player. Give up now.
Telling it how it is, to be fair.
Like it's honestly true. Like again, if you think all the play, do you know how mean some of the players get, like in professional esports?
Do you know how mean Phil can be? That's the truth.
Use it as fuel as well, though. Like if you don't have a tier list, you go, why? It's like, oh, I've not been noticed enough. Get some fucking fire under your ass. Sorry for swearing, but like, get something under you that gets a rocket up you, and just go for it. Get yourself talk to these teams. You already, if you see in the tier lists, you're aware of who these people are talking from or what teams they've been in, and you're obviously then aware of the scene. So if you're not on that tier list, why are you not on that tier list? Talk to them teams. Say, I want a trial. I'm going to message you every day until I get a trial. Do you know, you can't be angry that you're not on a tier list if you've not been anywhere.
It is baffling sometimes, for sure.
But that's the whole point of the proving grounds, is to give people an opportunity to showcase them.
When's it actually starting, Jakey?
The 9th of November, I believe, unless Manimal's changed it, but last I heard was the 9th of November. He keeps on changing things on it and not even notifying me. But
it's being streamed correctly?
Yeah, it's getting streamcasted. There's 6 teams currently, and each team has a coach to also help them with draft issues and just to try and help them improve as individuals and as a team, like how to communicate. And I think, I didn't want to go for like the top end of like UK players, sorry, because I always like finding people like under the radar and try giving them opportunities.
Yeah. And
that's always the way that I like to do things. And there is some players in there that I've never heard of, and we're like, holy shit! Like even like I know PWGs aren't everything, but you look at it and think, holy shit! Like this guy actually has something. He has some potential. This guy. And that's what I can't wait for people to see.
This is how bad some of the tier lists was. Some of them had gold, right? Which me and Phil know, like, not even like A tier, right? And gold's a really good AD carry, for sure. That's how bullshit these tier lists are.
Like they're irrelevant. Someone's opinion of you, whilst you should like, okay, that's what they think of me. Like make them, like as Nick was saying, like if you're not on like A or S or whatever bloody tier it is. There is a reason.
Yeah.
And if it's consistent throughout these tier lists, then that is you. Just improve yourself. But it doesn't matter really. Like if you want to play as a player, you're gonna play the best as you can. You're gonna practice hard as you can.
What's your hopes with Proving Grounds? Where do you want Proving Grounds to go? Where do you see it like this time next year?
Well, this time next year, I'm hoping that we can do another one.
Good answer.
Will you have one like every quarter, like 3 or 4 months, like a split type thing, or like in between the seasons?
I think we're going to see how this one goes. Really. Sorry, go on, Phil.
No. One problem I do want to highlight is that there's a lot of the time, like when a lot of the time we have a big problem in the UK of so many different things being set up at once that fulfill the same role, that like it ends up being that viewership or participants get so segmented that then it's just like 10 people here, 10 people here, 10 people here, when it could all be in one place. Now the problem that I see with like having different scouting grounds is that if there's so many different scouting grounds, then
it's gonna thin out the players, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just gonna
exhaust the viewership.
It's just So like, I think like what would be great is that obviously you guys are gonna have this, and Ferndog is gonna have his one, and then I think ideas from those two, or like whatever else ones that run, the ideas that were seen there should then be formulated into an official one where actually, and then because I think you guys have a lot of good ideas with what you're doing with the scouting ground, especially with the team stuff, and actually giving them time to practice, etc., so that they can actually show how good they are in the team environment. But like, and I don't think Ferndog's one will do that. I think it would just you'll turn up and play. I don't know how it will work, but I think both have good ideas. They should be built together into one place, and that should be the place that.
I think that Manimal started it because Ferndog did not yet announce his scouting grounds. Then I think that's why he wants to do one originally.
Yeah.
But then by the time Ferndog actually announces, like, he already had shit going on, so he just didn't want to back out of it.
Well, Ferndog is in the chat, so I'm pretty sure he'll answer that.
I'm pretty certain that was the case.
But what Phil said just comes back to what I said before, which is collaboration. Like, the scene's evolving, the scene's maturing now. It's getting
there
backwards a bit, if anything, because it used to be a lot more mature than it was now, and there was a lot more collaboration in the past. Now, with things like that, like that's absolutely what should happen. Make something official. This is the official UK scouting grounds. No one else needs to do it. Then they just need to get hold of you guys and go, oh, we've got this really cool idea. We want to try and hope you guys can implement it. You know what I mean? It's a much stronger thing than having a diluted. Like, if you've got only so much juice in a bottle, and you've got like 6 glasses of water, that's going to be some pretty weak juice, right? If you've got it all in 1 glass of water, that's going to be mighty strong. You know what I mean?
I think the best analogy you can do that is actually relative to actually help is that if you have 10 different tournaments with all 10 different players, no one's going to sponsor that shit. But if you're going to have one place with 100 players in it, and people are actually all going to watch that and bring it all into one place, people are actually going to look to do something with that, and that's where you create funding.
And you piggyback it with the back of, like, what British Esports Association. It's like a think tank now. Yeah, it's becoming like a think tank. Like, but then piggyback it with what British Esports Association are doing with schools, and you get the proving grounds into schools and stuff, and then it's like, oh wait, there's hundreds of thousands of children that are all getting exposed to this, who are all up and coming people who are coming of age, who want to be involved in esports. They see esports, they hear about esports, they watch their favorite streamers, blah blah blah. Oh, I can be involved in that. Oh, that's awesome. Immediately, you've got a hugely vaster audience than you previously had, which is the scene where everyone knows each other, which is only like several thousand of us, like, all together. You know what I mean? Immediately you've just opened up a bigger audience. It's amazing. It all of a sudden grows. It becomes great. Butterfly Gamer, we spoke about this only last week, about collaboration and about things getting drawn thin, and it's absolutely right. And it's about unifying certain things and bringing them together, because if you have stronger singularities as opposed to lots and lots of little things, it's much better.
Does anyone else have anything to add on proving grounds?
Like, what I'm just going to add on what Nick and Phil were just saying there, like, regarding, like, uniting, is, whilst you're absolutely right, but what I want to target a different audience to what Ferndog is targeting. Yeah. The sole reason of it.
Yeah, no, that's why.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jakey, is that you guys are doing different things compared to what Ferndog will do.
Well, I can only base off how Last Scouting Grounds went. Last Scouting Grounds was like the top tier players in each role, pretty much, right?
Did you ever think about contacting? I think this is like something that, especially Reclamation, Carl, whatever you want to call him, has campaigned a lot of different orgs to do, is please talk to the NUL, because the NUL are more than happy to work with you and like show how many different players that they have in there. And you know, it'd be great if they could even create their own little database with the different, how much, you know, the different people that are in there, what their ranks are, so that organizations like us can actually see this stuff and then and invite people to trials. Did you ever think about like contacting the NUL, or?
We actually didn't, because to be honest, like I can't even really answer anything smart here. No, like we didn't, and it would have gone a much better. Well, I'm not gonna say much better, but I think we'd have a lot more different talent that we could have bring forth. We did, and that's also something that I'm definitely gonna take forward. But yeah, because Newell does have some really good talent in there. Like it's just all hiding away, and like a lot of players want to focus on university. Some people might not even know too much about like the UK scene. Like I know we're going back like 5 topics, but
I think some unions
like there
don't
is
even
talent
have an
in there.
esports society
There is.
yet.
Like,
Is that everyone's finals opinions on Proving Grounds?
well, it's going to be exciting. I believe it's on the 9th of November.
What's the website that it's going to be streamed on, Jake? And what's the address?
I'll post it. One momento.
It's some shameless plug in there, just making sure you do it. Just a hint, Jake. That's all. Just make it.
Yeah, one moment. Let me get it.
Trying my best right now not to show my underwear.
He already showed me before the stream. Just confirm that.
On stream.
Do I also hear chat just in case?
Yeah.
Nice. I also hear chat if you were to sort of like post a tweet about where that's going to be seen, and you know you were to get your friends to like reshare it. I heard every time that happens, like you know a baby puppy is saved.
Marketing with
so
everyone loves puppies,
and everyone loves puppies. So like just in case you haven't got it in you to save a puppy yourself, you can save a puppy today by just posting it online, retweeting it, get your friends to retweet. You know, I'm just saying.
And it's just as easy as that. Like,
is that everything everyone has to say on Proving Grounds?
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
But yeah, like if everybody here could, like, obviously, I'm sure they will tune in anyway. But honestly, it'll be great for the players that are trying to like break through. Like, I'm sure it'll give them more inspiration to try harder. If people are just noticing them, if they're worth noticing, of course. I'm just looking forward to the event. I think it'll be good.
I'm looking forward to it as well, Jakey.
I'm looking forward to them both. Like I think I'll be watching both.
I'm definitely watching them both. 100%.
It's exciting, isn't it? Because it's always that excitement of the new raw talent that might just come through. It's like, oh damn, who's that guy? The only difficulty with Proving Grounds is, and Rifty said it. He's like he's not allowed in it and stuff like that. It's the benchmark. Like these players are playing against each other.
Like I would love to see Rifty versus. Some of these players. Like,
and that's great, isn't it?
Yeah, like if Rifty like shitstomps them, and then I'll be sitting there like, okay, well I don't know about this player then, because like it like going against that benchmark.
Is Rifty the benchmark then?
Don't blow his trumpet too much, lads. Come on, his head will explode in chat here in a second. But but the point being that when they're playing against each other and they're all at a similar level or an entry level, it's much harder to gauge how. I mean, you can gauge it by seeing mechanical skill and stuff like that, but it's better when you can see someone who would counteract that mechanical skill or would they'd capitalise on mistakes and stuff like that, and that'd be interesting to see.
Well, we do have a benchmark. Like the governor was a top 8 player, top lane in the UK.
Oh yeah, he was.
Right?
Yep.
He's in there. Like Bealey, like everyone knows who Bealey is. I know he's not like special anything, but he's a benchmark.
I would use him as a benchmark.
Yeah, like Bealey's a benchmark. Then you've got people who's in ADC. We've got like.
We need to throw Milkyard into the mix.
Oh God!
No, but I mean the thing is as well. Like I know why it doesn't happen, because then again, no one would enter, because it's like, well, I'm not playing against bloody. You know what I mean? I'm not playing against some of the best because there's no point in entering.
Again, if they're scared of that, then like again.
I think most players would want to go up against it to actually show what they've got. Like if they're scared of it, then
potentially.
But if they are scared of it, then they're not really in it to win it, are they? Like,
but there's a climbing factor. It's a ladder. This is the thing that you've got to understand is that not everyone's got that professional mental just yet because they haven't been in a competitive environment just yet. They might get then the taste from it and then work hard at it. So what and this is an idea and it's an opinion. What I'd like to see, which I think would be really cool, would be if like you did the proving grounds or scouting grounds, whichever one it may be, and then there was like a little mini follow-up tournament that pits
like the top players of that tournament against top players in the UK. That's a good idea.
That's a great idea, and I'm pretty sure if you contacted them players and said, well, we're going to randomise you, we're going to put you into random teams, not an org, we're going to put you into random teams, or you even ask the orgs that maybe own these player contracts or whatever, and they say, look, can we borrow them for this? And they go, hell yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure they'll all say yeah. You pit them with other players, you make them into random teams, so they haven't got that same like hard, combinations that they already play in. And then you've got like this benchmark, and it gives people like that hunger and something to aim for, doesn't it? That'd be great.
Are you done, Rifty?
Yeah. No, like
Rift is the new training dummy.
Just out of interest, Jakey, and this is something that is actually very important to us as well. If you want these players to go on to do good things, have you guys considered allowing us to be able to sit in the comms? Because that's one thing we need to listen to as well. And
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, like one thing at the end of the day, we're looking to scout these guys. So like if we're passing on sensitive information to the other team, then we're kind of defeating the purpose of us being there. But like I would love to hear the comms. I would love to hear what.
I mean, there's nothing really against that not happening. I can't think of any reason for you not to be there unless I've then trashed it and just shit talked all the way through it. Like,
because like
obviously it's down to Manimal, but I would already say yeah. Like,
I mean, like I would have loved to have listened, like got in comms and listened to someone.
See who's talking and see who's communicating, who's shot calling, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So it would to coaches and stuff like that. It would.
No, yeah, that's right, Con. Sorry, Phil. Like,
yeah.
To sort of round this all off because we are coming up to about an hour and a half now. UK scene's good. We could do a whole stream on sponsorships. Maybe we can compete internationally, and Proving Grounds is good. Any disagreements?
I think we can go compete internationally more consistently with time. Like we can already do it now, but I think it's gonna be more of a frequent thing in time. Like as LVP develops the league and as organisations move forward and stuff like that.
What's the overall question? Is UK esports good?
Yeah, pretty much. No, league esports. Questionable, right?
You open a whole different can of worms when you say UK scene as a whole.
That's another.
No, even league. Like when you ask that question, like it's so broad. Like, is League of Legends in the UK heading in the right direction? Yes, I believe so. Is it good that LVP came in and now we have all these different opportunities? Yes, it is good. I'm gonna end it there.
I'm just gonna answer one or two questions in the chat.
Sure, go ahead.
Rifty says, we need a brutally honest stream that talk about LVP and stuff like that. He says that org owners don't want to be involved in that because of feedback and stuff like that. This is true, but I mean, do you really?
I mean, I've been on it all night, about my LVP.
But does our opinion matter? Because our opinion, we'll share it with Riot. The professional opinion that we need, we'll share it with Riot and we'll share it with LVP, and they'll find out through the channels that they've offered to us. But what matters more is your opinion. I mean, not yours, Rifty, because you were a player, but the rest of the people who are viewers. Because we're nothing without the viewership. So you guys. Go to the Twitter. Go to LVP's Twitter. Go to the Forge of Champions Twitter. There's a feedback form. Fill it out. It's okay, so we've just seen with World of Warcraft, everyone started filling out all these different complaints.
Yeah, sorry, go on. Was he frozen again? Nick's frozen. Right. Well, I'll wait.
Those things that needed to happen.
There we go. He's back. Oh, he's back.
Go get feedback.
Go give feedback. Yeah, I cut out. Go give feedback.
Copies matter.
One thing on LVP which I gave feedback was it was down to myself or Orcs to stream the qualifying games. Now the qualifying games, at least the first week, that's where we got to see some of the teams that didn't make it into like week 2 or week 3. Like Barrage, for example, they didn't make it through first week, but they did, I think, second or third.
You have to think about it this way, though, Cameron. Is that like for them to be able to like broadcast those games, that would be that would be extra days that they would have to pay for accommodation for the casters, pay for the casters, get them over to the Spanish offices, because that's where they were doing in the LVP.
Barcelona, right?
Yeah, in Barcelona at the LVP offices. It costs a lot of money, and to be honest, like with those games, there's so many of them, so to schedule them all would be a nightmare, and like they wouldn't be able to cover all of them, so they'd have to do selective ones, and then people would moan about, oh well, they're doing those more than they're doing us, and there's just so many different things that was like associated with it. It's just there's no, I don't think there's any point to doing that, especially when you some of those games you do generally have plat silvers just smashing their heads against a wall, and like it's like, what are you going to cast? Oh look, they've messed up, you know, they've just got Baron and died, like what are you going to commentate? Like I don't think it would have been I don't think it would have been viable, and I don't think it really like.
I have to disagree with that. I have to disagree with that.
What's the advantage? Like,
well, you can cherry pick the qualifying games, like me and Orcs did. We were like, because when we picked it, right?
You're not an entity that is supposed to cover all of them. You guys.
Well, they don't have to cover all of them. They can just cherry pick the qualifiers each round, like me and Orcs did.
You would have to then pick games, and but everyone else would be like, well, why aren't you watching mine? And again, what's the benefit of doing that?
He's totally right. He's totally right, and he hits on such an important point here. And we spoke numerously throughout this podcast or stream, whatever you call it, like about growing the scene. Well, why are people going to tune in? If the people that they wanted to watch just got knocked out straight away and they didn't even see them, why are they going to tune into the other stuff? Because they've had nothing to gauge off and nothing to then attach themselves to. If, in my opinion only, if they streamed the other games leading up, if they did spread it out, if they gave people a reason to want to be involved in Forge of Champions because they've watched it, because they watched their team that they know fall out, but then they fell out to such and such about it, 9 times out of 10, like, you'll have a very small percentage who'll then attach themselves to the team that knocked their friend's team out. They're going to convert to then being someone who watches that the rest of the show, right? So why would you not stream it? It seems like such a small sample base, because then all you're doing is you're saying, well, I may as well have not bothered with Forge of Champions because I'm just going to watch the Premiership teams anyway. Well, you know, watch the other games. It's more viewership numbers. It's more to sell to sponsors. It's a bigger thing. It's like, for me, it was a really, really bad idea to not stream the qualifiers. You could work it out in some way. There's always a way you can spread it out, and you say if you can't make it. Exactly, you guys did it, so it was doable, right?
Yeah, but again, like like Cameron doing it isn't the same as LVP doing it, because LVP doing it because of the costs associated with it. Again, like flying people out and
but with the studio coming in.
But no, even with the studio, they still have to pay casters. They don't just stop paying casters because they're in the UK. They still have to pay for their accommodation, still have to pay for travel.
Absolutely, totally agree. But why couldn't it have been done in the same respect that it was done with Butterfly Gamer and Orcs? Orcs is still a caster, and Orcs still did the qualifying.
It loses professionalism. It loses professionalism.
It loses the professionalism more, in my opinion, if you do it in the basis that it was done. Like, if you do it like it happened.
It's not official channels. It's not official channels. So why?
But that's the point. Do you get what I mean? Why not put it on the official channel? I don't understand why they didn't put it on the official channel.
At least support people like myself and Orcs that are streaming the qualifiers, for example.
Now you see, no, because if they did it that way, then Phil is absolutely 100% right, because then that does lower the quality. And no offense to yourself, but they're set up. They're more set up. They've got a studio set up. They've got all the different overlays, the things that flash by, all the other gumph, right? Now, if they, like, say, hosted your stream, for example, that does then lower the quality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they'd have reached out to the community and said, we're looking for community casters for the qualifier games, they're not paying them.
They wouldn't want to do that simply because.
But you vet them.
No, but like, look what Riot did when they were vetted. ESL vetted a were allowed for orcs to stream and people to stream the games from home, Riot absolutely hated it and then pulled the plug on it. And there, even at the time, Nick, you also said that there were questions over whether or not someone should be in that lobby, because there's still
yeah, no, I agree.
So there's so many different like flaws to it. Like, here's the ending statement on that, so then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, so
it would be nice, but really the disadvantage, like the cons outweigh the pros, in my opinion. And there are different opinions.
You're right.
Whether or not is that, but to me, it's there you go. It would be nice, but I don't think it's necessary. There you go.
To round off the stream, because we are over the time later now. I am planning to do in December a charity stream for Special Effects. I hope you all watching. You, Nick, you Phil will take part in this. Join the Discord below. Join this. It's for managers, players, whole teams, whole orgs, for charity, for Special Effect. Dates are not going to be confirmed yet. But join the Discord. I'm looking for suggestions on game modes, types, milestone rewards that we could do, like challenges, those sort of stuff. Yeah, so if you want to help out with that, join the Discord, offer some suggestions. I'd like to
I did Kyle for a minute, so I'm worried about what you sign me up for then.
I'm just talking about the charity stream. So,
right, okay.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I would like to thank Nick, Phil, and Jakey for joining me on the first podcast. Thank you so much, guys.
I'll see you next week for the sponsorship one.
Yeah. Let's jokes aside, let's actually do it, Phil. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm open for it.
All right.
So hopefully this is going to be every week, depending on my university type things, or maybe every 2 weeks. I'm also running the YouTube channel, so don't forget to subscribe to that. And thank you to everyone that tuned in and watched.
Cheerio.
Much love, guys. Thank you.